Good morning and welcome as we continue our series, The Divine Protector, where we're looking at aspects of God in the role of a protector. And today we're going to continue in the subtopic of the God of battles. And here in Exodus 23:27, God says, I will send my fear before thee and destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And what what an incredible promise that God gives Israel. Nowhere else in the Bible do we see God saying something like this to anyone else. And here he is promising them, your enemies are going to flee from you. And so the background here is Israel is at Mount Sinai. Moses has been given the 10 Commandments by God. And God is expanding on various aspects of the law and what the expectations are of the children of Israel, at least where God is concerned. And in the demands of the law that God gave to Moses, and then subsequently to the children of Israel, there are promises as well. God is not one sided, God is multifaceted. He has so many different facets, so many different ways to view Him, and they're all consistent with each other. You know, you have one diamond and it has multiple facets, but it's still one diamond. And none of those facets contradict one another, but they enhance each other and enhance the beauty and the brilliance of that diamond. And that is the way our God is. When God says He's going to protect you and He's going to look out for you, you can take that to the bank. God's going to look out for you. God will keep His hand on you. There were promises of blessings, multiple promises of blessings for obedience. And just as there was multiple promises of blessings for obedience, there's multiple promises of punishment for disobedience. And so we have a choice. We have a choice to make here. And Israel was given a choice. They knew the consequences of their actions. It was well documented from start to finish. It was God's intention to bring Israel from Egypt, where they were enslaved, all the way to the land that He promised them, and to help them to fight the battles that they needed to fight and win. God gave them victory when they were walking in obedience to Him. In another place in Exodus 23, God explains that the conquest wasn't going to be done like in a day, or they weren't going to just march in and just tear everything up and kick everyone out all at once. Because when God gives us something, He doesn't give it to us in a dilapidated state. When God gives us something, He gives us something good. And so God knew that Israel couldn't handle an entire land for themselves. They'd been slaves. They knew what they knew from their days of slavery. Maybe they had limited farming or husbandry experience, but they didn't know how to take care of a land for themselves. And so they had to learn these things. And so to give them the entire land all in one day was unreasonable. And God didn't want the land to fall into desolation, both the buildings and the land itself. God wasn't going to give Israel some thrift store secondhand helpings. He was going to give it to them in good working order from the cities. The buildings weren't going to be dilapidated. They were going to just move right in. The fields ready to be cared for, flocks ready to be cared for so that they could learn. They could learn the husbandry, they could learn the farming, they could learn how to take care of their cities, how to build defenses, how to uh, create metal items, blacksmithing, farrier work, all these things they were going to have to learn. And so God was going to incrementally, as they went and as they learned and as they were faithful in learning about God and learning about how to take care of the things that God gave them, he was going to continue to give them victory as long as they followed him and followed his direction. Everything was going to be given to them in good working order. God promised them that he would go before them and make the way, blaze the trail before them. So there was no mistaking where God was going to be at next. And he was going to put fear into the hearts of their enemies. Instead of them being afraid, he was going to put the fear into their enemies. But we find later on that they began to cave into fear, and that prevented them from entering the promised land at the time that God wanted them to. And so then, again, the promises of punishment for disobedience. God told them not to be afraid. He was going to go before them and put the fear in their heart. And God will do that for you. God cares very deeply about everything that you are going through. And he's going to make a way so that you can go forward in God without fear. Fear comes from the devil. Fear comes from the enemy of your soul. And so it's time to put aside the fear and let the divine protector, let the God of battles rule and reign in your life and put your enemies to fear and send them running for their lives. In Psalm 46, verse 1, it says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in time of need. And that is exactly who he is. He is our divine protector. And when we are facing battles, whether they're physical battles or whether they're battles of mind and thought, God will be there to fight your battles as you let him. And as always, we love you and God loves you. We're praying for you. God bless you and have a fantastic week in the Lord.